I'm Lizzie Harrison for Card Player TV, here with Mike Sexton to talk about the final table of the Bellagio Cup IV. Thanks so much for coming up, Mike.
My pleasure.
All right, so in seat number 1, we have Ralph Perry. He's from Las Vegas, Nevada. He's about 1.6 million in chips going into the final table.
Well, it's the first WPT final table that Ralph has made, but those of us in the poker industry know what a great poker player Ralph Perry is.
Big cash game player.
He plays in the biggest games in the world, this guy. He's made it starting on his own. I mean, nobody's ever given him anything. He started at the low limits and worked his way up to those big games. And certainly to see him make a final table, I know is very satisfying for him, and I hope he has a good night here tonight.
Absolutely.
Going into final table as a short stock, I don't feel I have a short stock. It's shorter than the chip leader because I can double to anybody and I'd be back above average or at average. So I can hurt anybody at the table. Even if I lose a couple antes and big blinds, I can still beat somebody out of $1 million. So nobody wants to lose $1 million. People hurt. So I'm in a great shop. If I was below $500,000, then I'd be worried. But $1 million is huge. I played many World Poker Tour events. I'm in the minors. When we come down, if you count the World Poker Tour, I only played the main events. Last year I played like premier event, which I won one of them. But the main event, I'm way behind. I played over 20 events, and maybe this is my best results. I had one cash, or two cashes, like small cashes, like you get your money back. But this one I have a chance to win 1.6 million, which will be nice.
In seat number 2, we have Luke Stoudemire. He's known as I Wear Goggles online, and he's got 3.4 million in chips.
Well, he's a 22-year-old young internet player. I've really never seen the guy play, so I'm going to be interested to watch him just like everybody else.
I'm sure he has a lot of secrets to his game. You know, online players do bring something different to the live final tables.
Well, I'll tell you, the young online good players, they are tough. I mean, they're really tough players to beat, and it'll be interesting to see, how he performs under the bright lights in a real poker setting.
Right, and he has good chips, so we'll see what he can do.
Road to the final table was tough. I had no chips for almost the entire day until the second to last level of play when I doubled up a few times and had a good run of cards. My toughest opponent at the final table will either be Mike Watson or David Benjamin for sure. They're both very tough players. I'm a little antsy, a little excited, but it'll be fun, I'm sure.
In seat number 3 at today's final table, we have John Fan. He's beginning with about 3.4 million in chips.
Well, we've seen John the Razor Fan several times at final tables on the World Poker Tour. He has yet to capture a WPT title, and he wants to get one tonight.
He absolutely does. He's been having a great year. He won 2 World Series of Poker bracelets this summer. See if he can cap it off with the WPT title.
He is the man. If he wins here tonight, I'm sure he'll vault to the lead of Card Player of the Year.
Yeah, it'd be very impressive.
It's a rough road. I struggle. Like in the beginning, day one, I build our chip up, accumulate to about 150, 200. And I lost a big coin flip to Daniel Lai. And I went down to, end of day one, I have 43,000. Somehow I managed going to day 3, I ran up to 900,000, went back down 300. Actually, I got pretty lucky and played really good. Now I got 3.4 million. It'll be a good feeling. I've been here so many times. 3 times. I mean, the 10K just 3 months ago, the 25K 4 years ago, now the 15K. So it will be really nice if I win this one.
In seat number 4, we have a very well-known poker professional, David Benjamin, and he's starting out second in chips. He has 4.8 million.
Yeah, almost close to the chip lead at this final table. Certainly an experience. David's at the cream of the crop. We all know what a great high-stakes cash game player he is. His tournament record's pretty impressive also. He's going for his second WPT title tonight. I make him the favorite at this final table.
It's going to be a lot of fun to watch David play.
I try not to really, I have to remember that because it's definitely going to help me for the decisions that I'm going to be making. Sometimes, you can't really think that they are trapping you that much just because they're already scared of you, so they don't really want to fall into a trap that they would be putting out there. Sometimes you trap somebody and he ends up trapping you. So if they have a fear, if they a little bit fear me, they're not going to be trying things like that. So that's going to help decisions, all the time. You know that you impress someone, so it's going to make you play in a certain way. So I don't want to forget it, but I also have to forget it in some other ways. You got to be humble when you play poker because cards decides a lot of what's happening out there. I said that I liked a lot the way Gabe Baylor plays. You know, he can do good things that people don't give him enough credit in some ways. I mean, he's got a lot of credit, like he's a tight player, but he's totally capable of making moves, and he has, and he will again. So I give a lot of respect to him, John Fan, and then the three best players are him, John Fan, and Ralph Perry.
The short stack at this final table is Gabe Baylor. He has $1.5 million, and this is his first World Poker Tour final table.
Well, when you talk to cash game pros who play no limit hold'em, when you talk about great players in the poker world, Gabe Baylor's name comes to the top of their list all the time whenever asked to say who's the best no limit cash game players you know.
Right.
This is the first final table for Gabe on the World Poker Tour, and I'll tell you, it's going to be fun to watch him because this guy has game.
Which of his skills do you think will transition over to tournament poker? What do you think it is?
Well, Gabe's a talker at the table. He likes to talk a lot. He likes to be the table captain. So I'm going to be interested to see if anybody's going to talk back with him, if he can get a feel at the final table or not, or if he's just going to have to just use his own skills and go it on his own, so to speak.
He's a dangerous player, and he's going to be more dangerous if they chip him up.
He is tough.
The field was definitely full of pros, and my road to the final table was... I definitely had some fortunate things happen to me and had a couple key hands. But other than that, I really felt like it was, I was not all in until day 4, which I felt was a pretty good accomplishment, that I was not in jeopardy of going broke until actually day 4. So my road was fairly smooth until the last day, which was pretty bouncy. I feel that all poker players that reach this point feel confident in their ability to succeed or to win if they have good things happen to them. I do think that all of the opponents at this final table know how to play very well, and there's not anyone in particular that is much better than the other or much worse. I do think that David Benjamin is the best poker player at the table, other than I think all of us think that on any given day we're the best, but I really respect David.
The chip leader going into the final table is in seat 6, Mike Sir Watson from Canada. He has $5 million in chips. What do you think he's going to do with this WPT final table?
It'll be interesting to see how he performs here. You know, he finished 10th in the LA Poker Classic, almost made it to that final table with Phil Hellmuth and Phil Ivey. Didn't quite make it. He's happy to be here tonight. He's got the chip lead. He's young, 24 years old, seems fearless, seems like a great young man. Let's see how he performs tonight.
And he's finished a lot of days here during the tournament as the chip leader. He's maintained his stack. He hasn't cracked under the pressure, and we'll see what happens.
Well, he hasn't cracked yet, but I'm telling you, there's 4 tough, savvy, high-stakes pros sitting at this table. It'll be interesting for me to see how these 2 young internet pros stand up against these guys.
They're going to have to make some adjustments.
It's obviously great to have the chip lead. I don't think it's going to affect my play too much because there's 3 or 4 of us that have a pretty close amount of chips. So just going to play, my standard A game and go from there. I haven't had much luck in pots with David so far, David Benjamin, sorry. And but other than that, I mean, they're all very solid players. I have a lot of respect for all of them. But yeah, it's my first time at a televised final table. I came close in the LA Poker Classic in February at the Commerce, but ended up finishing 10th. So I'm looking for a little bit of redemption here.
So, Mike, there's 6 really great players at the final table. Who would be your pick to win it?
I like David Benjamin to win. He's second in chip position. He has a WPT title under his belt. I don't think he's going to crack under the pressure.
How long do you think the final table will take tonight? I mean, everyone's fairly even in chips, but the blinds are up there.
Well, the short stack is sitting on over 1.5 million in chips, so that's a lot of chips no matter what the blinds are. We're starting out at 40 and 80,000. Hard to tell if they're going to get aggressive early, and David Benjamin can force the action, so to speak. And if he forces guys to gamble, it could be over quicker than you think. If not, it could take quite a while.
So what did you think about this tournament, the fact that they tripled the chips? Everyone started with 45,000 in chips. It's just great for the good players.
Everyone loves deep stack tournaments, especially the top poker players, and obviously on World Poker Tour events, especially here at Bellagio, we get a lot of the greatest players in the world playing these tournaments. They love the triple stack, deep stack tournament. And
they're going to be doing that at Legends as well in August, so it's going to be another fun tournament to look forward to.
Well, that's great. Players like deep stack tournaments because you have to play after the flop. You just can't move all your chips in and not do anything else and be like this, like amateur players do and novice players like to do. They don't like to make decisions. Pros like to make decisions on every street.
And the cream rises to the top, and it's really evident at this final table.
Well, we've got great players here. It's going to be fun.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for coming by, Mike.
My pleasure.
Lizzie Harrison with Mike Sexton for Card Player TV.